All right, good evening and welcome to the first year forum getting ready for spring course registration. My name is Marcus Perkins and I am super excited to be your host tonight. So I work in the Office of New Student Transitions and First Year Experience as an FYE specialist. And tonight we have a few different panelists from the Division of Student Success that have come together to make sure that you have all the information you need before spring course registration begins. So, before we get started, let me go over a few housekeeping items. So, for tonight's program, we do have an automated live transcript enabled for this session. If you would like to use this feature, click the live transcript button and then select either full transcript or subtitles. Additionally, I encourage you all to take out your phones and submit questions for the panel by sending a text to the Your First Year texting line. And that number for that texting line is 1336 541 6939. And we are dropping that in the number in the chat right now. So tonight's program will begin by having a brief presentation given by Dana Saunders, Assistant Dean for Advising and Student Success. She will give a quick rundown of everything you need to know to successfully register for spring classes here. So following this presentation, we will have a Q&A panel of student success representatives who will discuss some of the resources available to help you with your current classes as you head into your rest of your semester. Next, you'll be heading into different breakout sessions hosted by each of the college or school advising units. We will provide instructions for how to access your assigned breakout sessions at the end of this panel. As a reminder, today's event is featured in the YFY Success Series. Your attendance was tracked when you logged into this event, which means that we're giving away $20 Amazon gift cards to random students who complete our survey after tonight's event is over. So be sure to fill out that survey once you receive it. If you attend at least 5 Success Series events throughout the academic year, you'll be eligible to receive a first year success certificate. So before we get started, I have just a brief poll for you to fill out real quick. So yes, please look into the chat and please fill out that poll for me. And just tell me, how do you feel about registration? How do you feel overall? Do you feel prepared? Somewhat prepared? Not prepared? Please tell me, friend. Okay, so I'm gonna give a few more seconds to see if any more Spartans still have to kind of answer this question. So just tell me if you're feeling prepared, somewhat prepared, not at all. How do you feel so far about scheduling for your classes for next semester? Okay, okay. So I'm starting to see some of the results coming in, some of the answers. Okay. All right, so I'm seeing so far that some of you are kind of somewhat prepared, but need a little bit more information when it comes to registration. This is why we're here, friend. This is why we're here at meetings, so we can get this information together. So right now, I would like to pass it off to Dana Saunders, our Assistant Dean for Academic Advising and Student Success, to help us learn a little bit more about this process.
Thanks so much, Marcus, and thanks to all of you for joining us here today. We thought we'd start off by sharing essentially our course registration need to know. So you're going to have an opportunity to hear from some students on our panel here in just a few minutes. You'll also have the opportunity to talk directly with academic advisors from each of our school and college advising centers later on today. But let's get started with some need to knows. So I'm going to share my screen. Can I get some thumbs up from my fellow panelists? Are you seeing everything correctly? Awesome. And so let's jump right into some course registration need to knows that hopefully set a good foundation for getting you started off right and preparing for spring 2023 advising and registration. So let's start off by talking a little bit about the timeline. So what you can anticipate over the next couple of weeks as advising and registration gets underway. As of last week, our spring 2023 course schedule officially went live. And so this is an opportunity where you can begin to see all of the course options that are going to be available next semester that you could consider registering for, and the days and times that those are going to be offered, if they're going to be face-to-face and in person, or if they're going to be online, or maybe they're even going to be in a hybrid format. And so this is available for you to just start browsing through, either through UNC Genie or through Schedule Hero, which I'll talk a little bit more about here in just a minute. Registration officially kicks off in a few more weeks, beginning on October 25th. This is the very first day when course registration begins for all of our current undergraduate students. But this is when it begins, which is why there's the asterisk there next to this date, because for most of you, you'll actually register starting November 7th and 8th, which is when registration windows open for students who have anywhere between 0 and 29 earned semester hours. So if this is your first semester in college and you're taking your first ever college classes this fall, you likely fall into the 0 earned hours category, which is why your registration window won't open until November 7th or 8th. If you are coming from a high school situation where maybe you earned college credit previously, maybe you were in an early college or a middle college, your registration window might actually be a little bit different. But for the vast majority of you, you'll have the opportunity to begin registering for your spring courses November 7th and 8th. We'll talk a little bit more about what registration windows are here in just a minute. And registration will continue over the next several weeks, and really the early registration period officially ends November 16th, right before we break for the Thanksgiving holiday. And that's when we move into what we call the schedule adjustment period, because ideally we want the vast majority of students that are going to be registered in the spring semester to already have their course schedule. If that is not the case for you for whatever reason, that is okay, because during the schedule adjustment period, that's when you'll continue to make tweaks to your schedule, and that continues all the way through the month of December and into early January through the first week of classes for spring 2023. But this gives you a sense of essentially key dates to keep in mind. Maybe you're going to put them in your planner, maybe you're going to log them in your phone to help you start to get ready for the advising and registration period. So registration windows, when do you register? So I gave you an idea on that last slide about ballpark, right? Probably somewhere around November 7th or 8th. Registration windows are assigned based specifically on your earned hours. And so like I mentioned earlier, some of you maybe already have earned college credit and are bringing that with you, even though this is your first semester at UNCG. For others of you, you've not earned any hours yet. But you can learn exactly when your registration window is through UNC Genie. So if you want to, grab your phone, snap a picture of this slide. I know this PowerPoint presentation will also be available for folks after our panel today. But you can see when your registration window is in UNC Genie with the steps there on the screen. And what UNC Genie will tell you is exactly when your window opens and exactly what time that it opens. And most windows will open at 12:01 a.m. So that means a part of your planning for advising and registration is to make sure that you're in front of your computer and prepared to register when your window opens at 12:01 a.m. So that means staying up late the night before. If I can stress one thing through this presentation, and I know that my student panelists who've been through registration many semesters can back me up on this later on, that is, don't wait to sign up for your advising appointments. Take steps to schedule your advising appointment now or as soon as you're prompted to do so by your academic advisor. If you're not sure when the right time is to sign up for your advising appointment, that is a great question to ask when you get into our breakout sessions, because they'll be able to share, the academic advisors will be able to share exactly how that sign up process works for you based on your major and what school or college you're part of. But one of the easiest mistakes that first-year students can make in their first semester is not signing up for their advising appointment until it's much closer to their registration window opening. And then they figure out that all of the advising appointments have been taken already by other students. So you want to take steps to schedule your advising appointment as soon as you're prompted, and then you want to make sure that you attend that appointment when you get it scheduled. So if you take one thing away from this, just be sure not to wait for that. In terms of your advising session specifically, here's a couple of things that you can expect. Really, you'll have in your advising session, you'll have three main goals. First is that you'll review what we call your degree works evaluation, and you'll preview Schedule Hero. Now, a lot of you all may have already heard about degree works and Schedule Hero, maybe in your FYE class, maybe you remember hearing about it when you were here at SOAR over the summer. Or maybe you have no idea what degree works and Schedule Hero are. And regardless of sort of which bucket you fall into, any one of those three are fine. But degree works essentially is a snapshot that is specific just to you as a UNCG student, and is essentially a checklist and a way for you to keep track of all of the courses and requirements that are required for you at UNCG to earn your degree, which ones you've already taken or checked off the list, and which ones are still remaining. And then Schedule Hero is one of our newest registration tools that we have for students here at UNCG, and is a great way to essentially take the guesswork out of making your schedule, because it's an opportunity for you to tell the computer what courses you want to take in the spring semester. You can also build in any breaks, like for class, or if you've got any kind of recurring obligations, and then the computer will help generate schedules based on all the information that you've given it. So you don't have to feel like you're putting together a puzzle and trying to figure out, okay, these are the courses that I need to take, but I can take this course at this time or this course at this time. The computer will help you figure out all the possible schedules, and then you can review them and figure out which one is best for you. And so if you're not familiar with DegreeWorks or Schedule Hero, or if you just need a refresher, you'll have the opportunity to do that in your advising session when you meet with your academic advisor. In that session, what you can also expect from advising is that you'll have the opportunity to select or review the classes that'll make up your planned courses list in Schedule Hero. So you may remember that little category that I showed you in that screenshot previously. And essentially, what you want to come away with from advising is a list of the courses that get you started in building that course schedule. And so your advisor will help point you in the right direction, but you also want to go ideally into your advising session with some idea in mind of the types of courses that you'll need to be registering for. And then last but not least, from your advising session, you'll receive what we call your Spring 2023 Academic Advising Code. This is specific just to you and only for the spring 2023 term, but it's very important because it unlocks your registration in Schedule Hero. And so it's kind of like a password. You need this code to be able to register for your courses. Even if you've already got the list of courses from your advisor, even if you've already taken a look in Schedule Hero, that advising code is the last key piece of what you need. So remember that you've got to attend your advising meeting in order to receive your advising code. And again, you must have your advising code to get registered. So here is a super quick snapshot of what you kind of want to keep in mind in terms of your to-dos over the next couple of weeks. If you don't know it already, tonight after our panel and after our breakout sessions is a great time for you to go ahead and look up in your registration window in UNC Genie. And then sometime this week or next week, again, ask your academic advisor tonight when's the best time to do this, but go ahead and schedule your advising appointment. Ideally, you want to aim for a day, at least a few days before your registration window opens, again, so you've got that buffer. And then later this month, start playing around with DegreeWorks and Schedule Hero to finalize your course schedule preferences. And you'll have all of that ready and planned out so that the night your registration window opens, you can finalize your choices, log into Schedule Hero when your registration window is about to open, and use your advising code to register for classes at 12:01 a.m. All right, so I know that's a quick snapshot to get us started, but hopefully we've got some questions coming in, Marcus. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Yes, and thank you so much, Dana, for just giving us all this information. It was great. So all right, Spartans, Let's jump right in and get started with our Q&A student success panel. So I have three guest panelists joining with us this afternoon. Can you both quickly introduce yourself and kind of talk with us about your role on campus?
Hello, everyone. My name is Audrey Davis, and I am a senior. My major is public health education, and I'm also a PAL.
Hi everyone, I'm Olivia Caratello. I'm also a senior with a kinesiology major, and I'm a PAL on campus as well.
And then I'll just quickly reintroduce myself, Dana Saunders, Assistant Dean of Advising and Student Success. I have been at UNCG almost 15 years, and I started off specifically working with exploratory majors as an academic advisor. So it's exciting to see those of you who are exploratory here today as well.
Yes, and thank you so much for y'all being here, taking the time to be here. I really appreciate y'all taking the time to be here today. So for our first question, I have, and anybody can answer this. What should students bring with us to our advising meetings when it comes to, should it be a list of classes, or what do they really need to bring to their advising meeting?
Great question, Marcus. I'll take a first stab at that. So I think you're right on track. It's great if you've had an opportunity to start to play around with the tools that I mentioned briefly, DegreeWorks, the course schedule, Schedule Hero, and start to sort of learn to use those on your own. Again, advisors will help you learn how to use those tools as part of planning out your 4-year degree. But if you've got ideas about the courses that you're interested in taking, especially if you're thinking about electives or general education courses, those are the courses where you have a lot of choice. And so as much sort of thought and feedback as you've given to that, that's really helpful and helps your academic advisor help you with informed choices. The other thing I'll say is even outside course registration, a lot of times we think about advising is just about registering for courses. But if you've got other questions, especially as a first year student, you've experienced a lot in your first several weeks in the first half of your first semester on campus. If you've got questions about academic resources or ways to get connected to co-curricular opportunities or extracurricular opportunities, your advisor is a great person that can talk you through kind of what that plan looks like and the brand that you're trying to develop for yourself. So think about if you've got those kinds of questions and bring those too.
All right, so I'm gonna go to my next question. And this is for either Olivia or Audrey or both, whoever wants to answer this. So are there any tips that you will give to students when it comes to scheduling classes for the first time? And are there any mistakes that you made when it comes to scheduling errors?
I will say, definitely before your advising meeting, I would recommend dedicating like a time out of your day to just research the different classes, to look at maybe the descriptions of them, which ones you're interested in. That way, when you go to your advising meeting, you can really focus on the questions that you have that you want to get answered, and you can be a bit more productive during those, because it does take some time to look at those classes. So I'd recommend just looking into that. And then something that I would recommend not doing is making sure that you are staying up the night before your registration day. So if it says that you're registering at 12:01 on November 7th, be sure to stay up the night of November 6th. Don't be like me and sleep in that night because you thought it was on the 7th. So just double check that.
So just picking back off of what Olivia said, it definitely make sure you stay up because same time around registering for fall classes my freshman year, I didn't register until like 2 days later because I honestly forgot. But don't be like me. Make sure you do that. And then also come in with a game plan that you have for your advisor. Also, during this time, you can schedule like your 4-year plan. Also have that like in your mind, and your advisor can go with you and basically like plan your classes for the next 4 years or give you an idea of like what route you can take.
Yes, those were some good tips. Thank y'all for that. All right, so Dana, this is a question for you. So a student asks, will my advisor reach out to me or should I reach out to them for my advising code?
That's a great question too, Marcus. And I would say, again, I would definitely recommend asking this question again when students go into their breakout rooms. But generally speaking, advisors will reach out to you when it's time to schedule your advising session. Now that means like, don't sit back and wait, but be sure to check your email, staying on top of that every day, because that's the primary platform that advisors use to communicate with all of our students at UNCG. So be looking out for that email. And all of our advising centers and our advisors have a little bit different timeline. So there's not like one day that all the advisors on campus reach out to all the students on campus and say, now is the time to sign up for your advising appointment. So definitely key into your academic advisor and to your advising center because they'll give you the specific information for how it will work for you. But I would say that you should definitely begin to hear from your advisor within the next couple of weeks. So if you come back from fall break and you still don't have an email in your inbox and we're just a couple of weeks from when your registration window opens, don't hesitate to reach out and advocate for your behalf, because you never know when something got lost in the shuffle. Spam is always really weird, and sometimes email can go to spam. So don't hesitate to reach out if you're like, I think I should have heard from someone right by now.
Yes, thank you for that. All right, so I do have another question for you, Dana. So another student asks, what should we do if our registration window isn't showing on our UNCG Need right now?
Gotcha. So if you follow those steps that were on that previous slide and you are not seeing a registration window listed there, you'll want to contact the university registrar's office because they are responsible for assigning every student's advising window. Now, if you're not sure how to get in touch with the registrar, or you don't even know what a registrar is, your academic advisor can certainly help you with that and sort of connect you, but the registrar's office is the one responsible for assigning your registration window. So if you've got questions about that, that's the office where you'll want to reach out.
Yes, thanks for that. All right, so Audrey and Olivia, I have a question for both of you. So a student asks, I'm nervous to meet with my advisor. Does anyone have any advice or tips when it comes into going into your first advising meeting?
One tip that I have is like, of course, you're going to be nervous, but I will also say like express that nervousness to your advisor. Say like, I'm so nervous. This is my first time scheduling classes. Like, I'm just really here to like learn from you. Take everything that they have in. And honestly, once you go in, it's just like having a conversation or a meeting with anybody. They're there for you. So don't think of it as like someone who's just like above you. They're there to help you. So ask them all the questions and just express that to them.
Definitely echo everything Audrey said. I was nervous going into my first advising meeting as well, but also when you bring up those questions that you have, being very specific, because sometimes maybe you're anxious about, you don't know the answers to certain questions that you have or where to look for your classes, things like that. So coming to your advising meeting with specific questions that you have so you can get them answered by the experts and they can help you as much as possible.
Marcus, can I chime in there as well?
Yes, please. I was just going to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will also just say that certainly academic advisors are the experts on courses at UNCG and on academic programs at UNCG, but you all are obviously the experts on yourselves and why you're interested in pursuing a certain major or program and the goals that you have for yourself after you graduate from UNCG and what you want to go on and do with that degree. And I would say the perfect advising session is one that melds those two areas of expertise. So certainly, like definitely the first time you're meeting with your advisor, that can be, that can have some like anxiousness or like trepidation to it. But just remember that you're the expert on you, and advisors want to help you create a game plan, create a schedule, create a 4-year plan that takes the expertise that you have and the goals that you have and combine it with the academic programs and curriculum that we have at UNCG. So you bring a lot to that session too.
Yes, and as a follow-up question for you, Dana, to kind of alleviate some of the nerves that some of the students are having, what are some examples of questions that students can ask their advisor?
Good idea or a good question. I think that goes back to a little bit what I was mentioning earlier about thinking about beyond even just course registration, thinking about what are the things that you want to get out of your time at UNCG. And again, advisors are, the experts on courses and programs, but also on all the other things that UNCG has to offer. And so think about like, what are those experiences that you want to have? If you're interested in internships, it's not too early to start thinking about that. Likewise, if like you just got a bunch of midterm grades and you're not sure what those mean or what to do with those, advisors can help you figure that out too. So certainly the primary focus, especially this time of the semester, is thinking about your course registration and getting registered for courses next semester, but all those sort of periphery courses or peripheral questions that aren't as directly related to your course schedule are things that advisors can help you out with too. And if they don't know the answer, they can also help you figure it out together. So don't be afraid to ask.
Yes, all right. So Olivia and Audrey, what study tips do you have for students when it comes to midterms or finals?
I would say definitely trying to figure out what environment works best for you for studying. So for me, I need to be in a really quiet space, but testing out maybe if you want to use the library for a group study floor, if you need to be studying by yourself, and sometimes changing up that environment too can help you as well. And then also building in breaks, because I know that sometimes it can be easy to just get lost in studying and to kind of do it for hours and hours, but your brain needs a break. You deserve a break. So remember that it's okay to add in some things that you enjoy doing while also studying so that you can be not only productive, but you're also just taking care of yourself.
Definitely what Olivia said. Make sure you take care of yourself while you're studying. And also, like since we're now like halfway, maybe studying how you're used to hasn't been going well like these first 8 weeks. So now maybe it's that time to maybe try something new. Go to the Academic Achievement Center and ask them for tips and tricks and different things like that. So just make sure that you find that rhythm and that groove now so that you'll be able to, like once November, December comes, you'll be able to grind and get the grades that you want.
Yes, thank you for that. Please go to your resources and definitely try something new, y'all. Yes. All right. So Dana, what question I have is, how do we know what courses will satisfy the major requirements that we need?
Good question. So that goes back to one of those two tools that I mentioned earlier that you'll have the chance to review in your advising session. And the big one is degree work. So again, that is the checklist that essentially is all of the courses and all of the requirements that are specific for you and the academic major and program that you're pursuing. And it like updates in real time based upon the courses that you're taking, the courses that you've earned final grades in. And so it's really a chance for you to keep track of what you've checked off the list and what's still left. And obviously, like if it's your first semester at UNCG, your first semester in college, there's a lot left unchecked, but that's a great first place to start because it will list very specific courses that you need to take for your degree. And then advisors can help you narrow down from there which ones are the right courses to take right now so that you can start to build your schedule for next semester.
Yes, thank you for that. All right, so this is my final question. This is open for all my panelists. So before we wrap up with the first part of our forum, I would like to ask each of you to share your biggest piece of advice for our first year students when it comes to registering for classes for the first time.
My biggest piece of advice is once you go into your advising meeting, you'll have your set list of courses, but I will also say like have a backup plan to those courses because sometimes those classes that you need will fill up. So say if it's a gen ed, make sure you have like another gen ed you can take in place of that so you can also stay on track, but definitely have like a plan A, B, and C. So just in case classes do get filled up.
Yes, I 1000% agree with what Audrey said. And then for the night that you are registering for classes, I would say do what you need to do so that you feel calm, you feel prepared. So if it's having those backup courses, if it's taking a nap during the day so that you're able to stay up late at night, or just giving yourself a breather, because I know that registering for classes can be nerve-wracking. I was a little bit anxious my first time doing it. So just knowing yourself and giving yourself the opportunity to breathe, relax so that you feel prepared when 12:01 hits on that night.
All right, and then I'm going to cheat and give two. My first one is to definitely do everything you can to plan to be ready to register at 12:01 a.m. right when your registration window opens. I saw there was a question in the chat about like, what happens if I don't get my schedule in by 12:01 a.m.? The biggest risk right now is what Audrey and Olivia have already indicated, which is that like classes are filling up all the time. Like there are lots of students registering all the time, but our continuing students, or our students who are currently enrolled at UNCG, get to register first, and then our new students get to register. And there's a whole new sweep of students who are like taking up seats that are maybe courses that you're interested in. So the sooner that you can register right when your window opens, the better your options are. And the second thing that I'll say is for all of our programs at UNCG, there are certain courses that you have to take. And then there are certain courses or requirements where there's a lot of choice. And I would just say to take advantage of the places where you've got a lot of choice. Take a class that you've never, taken or experienced in high school before. Or like if you have an interest in, let's say, I don't know, art or a hobby, like take advantage of the electives or of the general education requirements to try something new, because you never know when that's going to lead to a second major or a minor or just a really cool class or a connection with a faculty member. So take advantage of the places where you've got that choice and those options.
Yes. So unfortunately, that is all the time we have for our panel session. So I just want to say thank you to every single panelist that came out to join us tonight. So I just want to say thank you, and thank you for sharing your experiences. All right, friends. So the second half of this program will consist of breakout sessions hosted by each college or school's advising center. So during the breakout sessions, academic advisors will share very important information you need to know when preparing for your advising appointments and for spring course registration. To join the breakout sessions, please visit go.uncg.edu/first year form. Again, that is go.uncg.edu/first year form. This link will take you to the page where you can select your college or school to join your breakout session. And if you have any questions at all, friends, please text that line, the line, the Wi-Fi line, which is at 1-336-541-6939. It will get to you very soon. So again, please definitely go to your breakout sessions, and I will see you soon, Spartans. Have a good day.